All done. I think maybe 5 times a week people ask me how I get it all done, because I get a lot done. And here's a typical day in my world. You ready for it? I don't want to overwhelm you. If you're easily overwhelmed, I suggest that you put me on mute for a minute. Usually I'm up at 3 in the morning because my puppy needs to go outside, and yes, that's an issue. We need to resolve it soon. And then I start thinking and writing and creating. That's my golden time. And then at 7:30, I go work out with a bunch of really joyful people who make me smile and laugh and remind me of how much progress I have to obtain. It's like my humility hour. And then I come back to my desk after walking the puppy and saying goodbye to my husband for the day and getting settled with my coffee and being ready to serve my clients. And serving my clients, when I say that, I'm talking about my coaching clients. We work with doctors all over the world who are looking to streamline their practice. So we do Zoom call after Zoom call, right? And then I create some kind of creative for you, my audience. And then usually I'll take like a 20-minute, 30-minute nap. And then I go to my office and I adjust. That's a typical day in my world. And then I come home and I crash. And somewhere in there I'm eating a lot. I eat a lot of food. So I'm prepping the food. I'm eating the food, I'm cleaning up from the food, I'm also getting the housework done. How do I get it all done? And one time I was asked that, and my answer was I just do things really fast. And I think fast, I move fast, I get things done fast. And it was offensive to the person that was listening. So I'm going to go through step by step how I get it all done. And I'm hoping that this is helpful to you. I'm also going to say that wherever you're watching this, you can grab the efficiency guide. And what the guide will do is it will have you go through really specific questions. Where is time getting wasted? Wasted time is the biggest subluxation to getting a lot done. And we're going to go over that in a minute. If you're finding yourself doing things that are not the best use of your time, MWAs, minimum wage activities, delegate them to somebody who will do them better than you. And I think that the difference between, actually I know this for sure, the difference between succeeding with getting a lot done and not succeeding is knowing whether or not you're in your lane of genius. And when you're doing most of the things not in your lane of genius, you're not going to get a lot done because your wheels are going to spin. You can only do, for the most part, one thing at a time really well. That's not necessarily true, but for the most part, it's true, right? So let's take a look at the list, shall we? I got a lot of windows open here, you guys, because I have a lot that I want to share with you. There we go. Okay, you ready? Okay, isn't that fancy? Let's just go through one by one. And these are the things that I have used that have made a big difference for me. Truth be told, I definitely threw this into ChatGPT to get the right words on it because I was kind of last minuting this presentation or this share. But I think that these points are pretty well anchored. So set your clear goals. I go to a mastermind training with my coaches 4 times a year. And I would say 50% of what we do in these high-level masterminds are setting our goals. So when was the last time you sat down and wrote out what your goals were? Physical, emotional, spiritual, career, relationship, family. Set your goals. Make them clear. Hold yourself accountable to them. Prioritize your tasks. I love this one. And this is one that I fall short of often because I'll get wrapped up in doing something. Like I'll get wrapped up in, here's an example. I'll go to take out the garbage and then I'll realize that the garbage can needs to be washed out. So then I'll go take the garbage can outside, I'll wash it down with the hose and then I'll dry it. And then I'll reline. Like that's 15 minutes where I could have got. So set priorities for the way that you're going to organize your day, the way that you're organizing your tasks. What really needs to get done today and what can take a back burner or what can be delegated. Breaking tasks into smaller steps. A lot of people that we work with, let me just minimize this. One of the courses that we offer inside of Staffless Practice Academy is all about either writing a book or creating an online course, like taking a big project and chunking it down. And I can't tell you how many people I've worked with who have a book in their mind or their heart that they want to write. And I'm 4 books in now, working on my 5th. And I'm the perfect person to be saying this because I've been working on my 5th for a year. Okay? And it's because I have to chunk it down into bite-sized pieces. If I think about starting a project of writing a book, that's a big undertaking. But if I think about a project of creating an outline for a book, and then once I have the outline, then the next project is to organize my thoughts for each section of the outline. Then the next task is to do this, and then the next task. But if I think I have to write a book, I'm never going to start because it's insurmountable. It's too big. I've been running lately. It's like my new favorite thing to do. And when I started, and you guys, I do CrossFit a lot. Like I'm constantly working out. When I started running, it was hard for me to get a mile down. And that was a couple of months ago. And this past week I hit 5 miles. But if you had asked me to do 5 miles a couple of months ago, I would have never started running because it would have been too overwhelming. I had to start with less than a mile. And then my new goal was a mile. And then my new goal was a mile and a half. And part of why I love running so much is because it's an example of all of it for me. And I'm getting sidetracked, but let me go into this because this is important. When I'm on a run and I'm going uphill, before I hit the uphill, the whole time I'm thinking this uphill is going to suck. This uphill is going to suck so bad. I'm going to hate this uphill. This is before I've even gotten to the uphill, right? And then I'm on the uphill and my mind will start drifting and I won't even be thinking about how hard it is. And then I go on the downhill and I'm like, this is so much harder than the uphill was. So it's like monkey mind. My mind takes over and starts setting up these scenarios of difficulty levels. And if I back out of that and I just chunk down what I need to do in bite-sized pieces, I don't get so overwhelmed. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Set deadlines. So probably the most important the most important thing that I do as a coach, that we do inside of Staffless Practice Academy, is we hold our clients responsible for time, energy, deadlines. We say, I just did this morning with one of my clients. His goal was to send out a 7-word email to his practice members. And if you don't know what a 7-word email is, this is one of the things that we're going over in the Marketing Masterclass. And I said to him immediately, tell me when your deadline for this is. When are you going to get this done by? And if I hadn't said that, this is a guy that's super responsible, so he probably would have gotten it done anyway. I need the deadline. If you're going to ask me to do something, I want to know when it needs to be done by, because then I can hit that goal, right? So set a deadline, time, energy deadline. Eliminating distractions is a big one. We are constantly distracted. And if I want to really haul ass and get stuff done, I need to eliminate the phone, the notifications that bounce up on my computer screen. If I need to have one of the things, and this is a silly example, you guys, but I have a whole basket of water bottles sitting right by my desk here so that there's never an excuse to not be hydrated while I'm doing my work. And I don't have to get up and go downstairs and grab a bottle of water when I'm in my zone, when I'm in my flow. So eliminate the distractions. Stay organized. Organization is a big one for me. If you've been in my world for a minute, you know that about me. I work with a paper checklist, and if you're one of our clients, I give you a copy of this, like the weekly checklist for a wellness practitioner, all of the things Monday through Friday that you want to think of. We have paper versions of this. We have electronic versions. I need the paper. I need to check off as I go. We're on Tuesday today. I've only done one thing on my checklist, so I don't leave my desk until the whole thing is done, or I've made a plan to do it tomorrow. I need this checklist, but then I also have an entire book. And the way that I use my book is every week, this is just where I take my notes. This is where if I'm in a meeting with somebody, I write down if I have a new idea, I'm constantly getting new ideas when I'm in flow. So I got to write it down. And then I can track back what were my ideas last week? Did I highlight them? Did they get done? And then I also have like a really lovely monthly view so that I can just see the whole month at once. Some people don't need the paper version of it. I do. I'm old school. I grew up not on computers. If you're 50 or over, your brain was developed not on computers. So chances are, whatever we grow up on, whatever our DNA evolves on, if I have a practice member who comes in for chiropractic care and they grew up doing ballet for every day, 5 days a week. They danced for 10 years, and they come to me and they're 30 years old. They just had their first baby. They're filled with pain. They're carrying an extra 50 pounds that they want to let go of. They are on medication. They're all of these things. The first question I'm going to ask them by looking at their history is, what? Are you dancing? Are you doing ballet? And if they start there, because that's where they grew up, whatever you grow up doing, your body knows that to be true. So my generation grew up on paper. And although I really would love to be that guy who can take notes in my phone and look at a screen this big for my calendar, I need to see it on paper. So what do you need? That's my point. What do you need to be super successful with your task management? And we've got all kinds of options available to you in the Academy. So let's stay organized. Find accountability. I have 2 accountability buddies. Actually, I have 3. One of my accountability buddies is for my business goals. One of my accountability buddies is for nutrition. And one of my accountability buddies is to maximize my experience on the planet, to take care of my mind and my heart, and to continue to move forward. These are the people who I am answering to. If I don't have somebody watching me do what I do and checking in with me next week to say, hey, how did it go? I'm missing the boat, right? For me, this is what I need. We also work with a lot of teams. I get the irony. This is Staffless Practice, but what's happened as a result of our work is we've gotten really good at creating efficiency on teams, and we'll work with an entire team and make sure that everybody on the team has a buddy on their team that is holding each other accountable. This week you said you were going to do this. Next week your goal is to do this. We appreciate you. We're grateful for you. This is called the 5 Freedoms training. So these are all things that we play with. So find someone to be holding you accountable, even if it's your spouse, your partner, your best friend, your sister, your brother, and just check in with them on a regular basis, whatever that cadence is that works for your brain and your heart. And then hold them accountable too. Take turns. That's really important with accountability. Reward yourself. So these days, my reward is to give myself chunks of time unplugged. And I'm not good at doing it because I always have an idea and I always want to get to the next thing. So I've created the solution of just writing down the thoughts and then coming back to them when I'm plugged in again. So what are the rewards for yourself? Little micro goals, like a goal of, let's say that we're talking about the goal of growing the practice by 10% in 2024. So one of the that's a big goal. That's a big feat, right? One of the micro goals might be to increase the practice by 2 patient visits each week. 2 patient visits, 2 patient visits, 2 patient visits. And then you might want to set a reward for each one of those goals. And the reward could be, for every 2 patient visits a week you go up, you can throw $100 in a pot for paying for a new piece of equipment or something that you want for the office. This is just an example, you guys, of the way that you can reward yourself for setting and hitting those micro tasks. And then staying flexible, that's probably the biggest part. Like, I'm the first person to run out of a CrossFit workout because I've got a lot of shit to do right after the class is over. I don't take the 10 minutes to stretch. Flexibility is so important, and it's definitely not something that I exercise. I need to slow down. I need to slow my roll, and I need to make space for flexibility. And here's why. The more flexible I am, especially as I age, the more I'm going to be able to integrate information. The more information that I can integrate, the more I can serve, especially you guys. So then you ask the questions, right? The hard questions are, where do you need to implement more flexibility? For me, it would be staying for the last 10 minutes and doing the stretching instead of jumping in my car and getting going, right? Where does flexibility need to be improved? What kind of reward systems can you create for when you accomplish your micro goals? What big project, this is a big one, what big project have you been putting off because you haven't broken it down into bite-sized pieces? What do you need to take that big project and run with it? This morning I saw my neighbor. She's so amazing. She's got 5 kids, and it's freezing here. It's like 35 degrees, right? And she's walking down her driveway with no socks or shoes on. You can tell that she's had a frazzled morning with her kids. They just got on the bus. And she's walking down the driveway in her jammers. And I turn around because I can tell she's having a minute. And I turn around and I'm like, I'm going to do the neighborly thing. And I roll down my window. She's like, he forgot his instrument and he did this. And this one was late. I had to take him to school. I had been up since 5 o'clock working. And she's got the list. And I'm thinking to her, it's going to go so fast. And you're going to blink and you are going to wish that the problem of the morning was that he forgot his instrument, because one day, boom, it's going to be over. And then my question is, where do we need to slow our roll to appreciate the problems that we have? Because every problem we have, there's a gratitude shot right on the other side of it. And I joked with her. I said, you're going to miss it. I promise you're going to miss it. It's going to go so fast. So then I asked myself the same question as I'm talking to you guys. Where do I need to slow my roll, increase my flexibility, create a reward system, create an accountability system, break something down into bite-sized pieces so I can finally get started on it? I know my answer to that. Mine is book number 5. It's just been sitting and I want to get it done. Okay, I hope that was super helpful to you. And the offer that we're giving this week, every week that I go live, I include an offer in it. And this week's offer is to grab access to the Joy-Filled Practice guide. And what it will do is it will just show you where time is being wasted in the office and how you can be more efficient, and so that you can serve more, earn more, and work less and enjoy your life more. Okay, you guys, I'm loving you from here. Go make the world better with great care.